Well, hello, kids, dreamers, and jammers. Welcome to another Park Streamers Hangout. We have an amazing show for you tonight. But before we get that started, let's go ahead and let's say hi to everyone in the comments section there. Who do we have, everyone?
We've got Haunted Mermaid, welcome in. Carol G and the Corn Dogs, Weird Old Man, Kelly DiMaggio, Eric Schwartz. Good evening, Paul M. Newitt, EXP626, Buddy Hepburn. And we've got Chad Pritchard, Tammy Delaney, Most Wanted. And sliding in right now, I see Mattercam Matt and Emily Ennis. Welcome in, everybody. Faith Keeper, good evening. I think that covers pretty much everybody that we got in at the moment at the chat.
Jennifer Beausoleil's there.
Oh, Jennifer Beausoleil. That's right. I had that one written down. Did you need to get that, Bob?
That was me.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have Eric Schwartz. Welcome in.
Sorry. Emergency breakthrough from the kids.
You want to see if they want to join us on the show? I think you said Weird Old Man. Carol G and the Corn Dogs, you said.
GV559, welcome in.
Very cool. I think Most Wanted, Mattercam Matt. All right, I think we're caught up. Before we continue on and introduce our first guest or our only guest tonight, would you guys like to share?
It's going to be a night, man.
It's going to be a crazy night. Slim Devin Adventures just came in, and he's been a member for 6 months, everyone. So thank you, Slim. Really appreciate it. Says, hello, friends. Have a good stream tonight. Thank you, Slim. Really appreciate it.
And Haunted Mermaid became a member here at Park Streamers Hangout this evening. So welcome, Mermaid, to the crew.
Woohoo! That's awesome. Yep, we said hi, Paul. Paul says, I'm here.
Oh, and Weird Old Man with 6 months membership.
That's awesome. Hi, Bob, Danny, and Cordy. Let the fun begin. That's right. Very cool. All right. Well, let's see here. Why don't we go ahead and talk about where we can find you guys? So, Cordy, go ahead and share with us where we can find you. And
yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, of course, Instagram, TikTok, my Discord, and Twitch. All 40 in California.
Oh, I was thinking, wow, for some reason, it doesn't allow me to do the individual solo like we had before. So, Theme Park Casual, please tell everyone where you can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, X, and Instagram, all of them at Theme Park Casual.
All right, and everyone, you can find me at BarryPlace28 on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. So we have a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk with our very special guest, Marc Marcuse, and he is going to tell us all about his former career as Walt Disney Imagineering and what he's doing today with Real Management. It's going to be amazing. Cannot wait to get there. And we have something new that we're going to be doing. We're going to do some rapid flag questions, and we're going to ask him 5 questions in 30 seconds to see what his answers are related to Disney and theme park stuff. So it's going to be kind of cool. And then we'll throw it out and do some Q&A at the very end. And then after that, we are going to cover just a few theme park news topics that are out there. And Cordy and I are going to talk about the Not Scary Farm opening night, as well as the mini chalk walk, which me, Theme Park Casual, Cordy in California, George Ray, and Lynn Ray had the pleasure of going to. And again, it was amazing. And thank you again for helping us to raise $37,075 for the chalk walk. That is awesome. All right, with that, Cordy, would you like to read the bio for our guest tonight?
Yes, of course. So we're really excited. We have Marc Marcuse here. And just to give you a little bit of background, Marc's passion for theme parks began with childhood trips to Disneyland, eventually leading him to work as a Universal Studios tour guide and later at Walt Disney Imagineering R&D, where he helped bring innovative internet and park technologies to life. In 2003, after appearing on the reality show Average Joe, I remember that, Marc founded Real Management, a talent agency specializing in unscripted television personalities. For over 20 years, he has represented talent from hit shows including Survivor, nice, Big Brother, The Bachelor, The Traitors, RuPaul's Drag Race, nice, and The Real Housewives. Though his career shifted away from themed entertainment, Marc continues to visit parks around the world, having experienced every Disney park, and shares his adventures on his YouTube channel, Worldscape Scenery. He also enjoys thrifting mid-century modern finds with his fiancée, Julie, and traveling with his daughter, Dylan.
All right. Well, with that, we'd like to welcome Marc to the stage here. So, Marc, welcome in. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Well, let me adjust this back up a little bit. There we go. Now you can kind of see me. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Good evening.
Well, thank you for joining us. So, just a little background. Marc and I have known each other for several months now. As you guys know, many of you know, I'm part of the YouTube creator program. So is Marc, and we actually met at a YouTube event earlier this year. And it's so funny because I was hanging out with some people I met, and then they met Marc, and they're like, "Bob, you got to meet Marc. He used to work for WDI." I'm like, "What? Let me meet this guy." So we hit it off, and we started talking, and then I'm like, "Do you know Chris Merritt?" "I know Chris Merritt." "I do too." So next thing you know, we're texting Chris Merritt and taking photos at the YouTube event and sending him over to Chris, which was a lot of fun. And thankfully, we've kept in touch and become good friends. And it was awesome because, as you guys saw, when I was at Not Scary Farm last Thursday night for the grand opening, Marc was there with his daughter, and I got to show him on screen and at least do a little introduction before our Park Streamers Hangout tonight. So it's really, really great to have you on the show, Marc, and I thank you for taking the time. It was kind of a last minute, guest spot to add you because I know you're really busy for the next couple months, but we really appreciate it.
No, I look, everything you just said is totally true. It's been really great meeting you and getting to know you in the past couple of months. And that was a real fun night at the YouTube thing. I don't want to bug your viewers too much with talks of parties that they weren't invited to, but it was a real fun night, and there was free food, which is really all you need to get me there with. So, I was down, but,
free food and
yeah,
candy and drinks.
Really. Right. So it was a fun time. And we tried to squeeze in some quick talk before things started on Thursday, because they didn't tell us when exactly. We were all crammed in there like sardines, and they didn't tell us when things would start or where. I guess the witch was, you guys knew this, would be up on top somewhere, but we didn't know where. So we're just trying frantically to catch up, knowing that we're just gonna have to drop the conversation in a tenth of a second to watch the opening ceremony. It was a fun night. Yeah,
it really was. Well, fun night for you guys, especially because you and Dylan got to do the whole kind of VIP thing. So you have to tell us what the food was like and everything too. So now, or do you want to get to that later? I don't know what we can get to that a little bit later. But
okay,
let's go ahead and start with some really cool questions. So let's talk about your childhood. Ooh, we're going to go back in the past here. So obviously you grew up visiting Disneyland in the early 80s. So what were some of your earliest memories that sparked your lifelong passion for theme parks?
Well, okay, let's see. I was born in 71, and I'd been going. I have pictures of me as a real young infant going to the parks, and that was during that crazy time when the parks were in turmoil after Walt's death. But I still loved it. What kid doesn't really? And the big things back then, if you've seen these, they had the flip books that you could buy when you would leave the park at the newsstand right there. I'd always buy the flip books and collect them. And so just like any kid growing up in Southern California, I'm from the Valley, I'm from Woodland Hills, Calabasas area. And my family would take me at least once a year, which was what everybody did. We'd stay in the Disneyland Hotel when it was at its peak. We'd take the monorail into the park from right there. I mean, it was pretty cool. But then something changed probably like mid 80s. And this is before Disney figured out Disney collecting was a thing, right? There was a period where you just would buy a pennant or a book or whatever when you went to the parks, but people didn't collect. And I was one of the few people who started doing that probably in the mid to early 80s. There was a guy who you may know, his name is Dean Mancina. He's still around. And he had a newsletter where you could buy and trade Disney pins, which was really ahead of its time. And I'd met him when I was about 14. We're still friends to this day. Amazing guy. And so we used to go over to his place and take pins, and we'd trade memorabilia and that kind of thing. And it sort of grew out of that. The real turning point, though, is I think in 84 or 85, the parks did a giant Easter celebration. And when you'd go to the park, and then these little like Easter egg patches set up in different lands throughout the park, and you'd go in there and you get like I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked, but you get like a scratch off prize or something like that. And a lot of the time you always won. So it was either a button or a pin or a free Coke, something like that. And I think one of the people who worked there thought I was cute or something because I looked really young for my age and gave me a whole stack of them. So I scratched them all off. And they were like all free Coca-Colas. We didn't know what to do with like 30 free Cokes. So we went over to Big Thunder, which was fairly new still. And we made friends with all the people there. And we would go get them Cokes and bring them like batches of like 20 free Coca-Colas together. These kids, we would deliver it to them. And so we became best friends, and they would just backdoor us on the rides whenever we wanted to. So I never had to wait in line. Yeah, it was really cool. I never had to wait in line for anything. Any of those people would then go off and run the attractions for. And I think that really sparked a lot of interest too with me. So it was kind of a weird Disney experience, I suppose.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you transferred. You became a Universal Studios tour guide in '94. What was that experience like? And how's it different from a love for Disney, because it's a very different theme park, especially back then. But do you have any fun, memorable stories from the backlot?
Yeah. So I went to Universal Studios a lot too as a kid, which isn't as common as Disney, but still common from back then. I always was into movie stuff. I was a little nerdy with all of that. And so I don't know if you know Dave Cobb. He's never worked for Disney, but he's the guy who was responsible for Warner Brothers World in Abu Dhabi, Back to the Future, the ride. He was the head on Men in Black in Florida. Big name in the entertainment industry. He and I were friends, and he was a studio guide at the time, so he recommended me. And the way that you became a studio guide back then, I think it's pretty similar now, is you go into a giant room. It's a cattle call with 100 people, and they make you stand up and say something for 10 seconds, and that's all you get. And I did that. I passed that test. Then they brought us in for a normal job interview, and then you do a 1 month long class that you have to learn everything there is to know about Universal Studios, about Lemley and about the original park and how it designed and different movies and all this sort of thing, and how to run the tour. Because at the time we didn't have the video screens, and so consequently, if the tram was stuck somewhere or stopped, you had 300 people looking at you to entertain them for the time. We couldn't just put a video up on the screen to relax.
You had to.
And so, yeah, we did. The famous one is the Tom Ford stall. It's a story about Tom Ford, the director. That was sort of an in-joke with us. But in any event, they give you a giant book that's this big that you have to know everything. And then they eventually give you what's called your tram tour or tram test. You get on the tram and they test you. They take you through the entire tour and they say yes or no to whether or not you really got the job. They normally do that scheduled, but they asked me to come in to help one night. There was like a corporate event, and they were like, look, can you just help load people on the tram? Because I had never gone on a tram by myself before. And they surprised me and said, get up there, kid. And I was like, so they put me at the front, and I ran my first tram tour, and I thought I screwed it up so bad. I just did not know what the heck I was doing. And I guess I fooled them, and at the end they gave me the job, and so I did that. And that was back in the day of Battlestar Galactica, Earthquake, the avalanche scenes. Yeah, it was we'd go down Mockingbird Lane and see the Leave It to Beaver house, the best little whorehouse in Texas was there. All of that stuff. So we used to go backstage there. During our off hours, they used to, I don't know if they do this anymore, they'd give you access to the back lot. And so I would just run around the back lot like a kid in a candy store whenever I could. I even got drive-ons every once in a while. And I literally did this. I'm not joking. I parked my car at the end of Courthouse Square and tried to get my car up to 88 miles per hour, going straight towards the movie theater. I got it to like 40. There's not enough runway to get even close to 88 miles an hour. 1989 Ford Probe, it just doesn't work. But we had a lot of fun back then. There was a time There was one time where, God, sorry, I don't want to overdo it, but there's so many stories about Universal that are interesting, because you would run into celebrities and things like that all the time. But one really interesting story was I was just loading the tram, my tour or whatever, and this is when we would load the tram on the lower lot. They moved to the upper lot when they built Jurassic Park. This is in 1994. And so there was a guy I could see coming from the back lot, or going from the theme park area, trying to walk to the back lot. And I stopped him and said, "I'm sorry, sir, can I see your ID or something, because security, And he was like, "Oh, no, I'm working on the Flintstones movie back here." And it turned out the guy's name was Michael Lantieri, and he's the guy who did all of the practical effects for Jurassic Park back in the day. And so he said, "Look, I love you guys, you studio tour guys. If you ever just want to come on back and I'll show you around the Flintstone set." So I'm not stupid. I did that. And I went over there one day, and it happened to be the day that the B-52s were dressed up in all of the old costumes, the Flintstones costumes, and they were playing, which they did in the movie. And luckily, the director saw me standing there, because I was a big B-52. Well, I wasn't a big B-52s fan, but I was an alternative music fan. So it was just really cool for me. And I was standing right in front. And the director was like, "Look, we don't have an eye line for them," because there was supposed to be a whole crowd down below, but the camera was doing tight shots of them, so you didn't see, there was no audience at all. And so the director, I don't even remember who it was, says, "Hey, you kid, can you get up in front there and give him an eye line?" I was like, "Okay." So I just stood right in front, and I had the B-52s just singing at me personally for like an hour. It was really cool. And I have a neat picture of them. Yeah, I have a picture of me in my studio guide outfit and them behind me and all their Flintstone stuff in a Polaroid. So just things like that. It's weird. Things like that just happened back then, It was really weird. So yeah, that's my childhood.
That is an awesome story.
I know.
That's weird.
A whole show just on that.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, I got more.
So then the tech career path, right? So your career later took you to Microsoft and Sony. How did your time in the tech world prepare you for your eventual role at Walt Disney Imagineering?
Great question. And the answer is, I guess it did, but not on purpose. So I had always, despite all this theme park stuff, I'd always wanted to be a physician. I went to UCLA for my undergrad. I was a psychobiology major. And then I went to medical school after Universal. After I was a tour guide, I went to med school in Philadelphia. I did about a year before I quit and came back to Los Angeles, and I realized it wasn't for me. But I had always saw myself as a physician, not a tech guy. The only reason I wound up in tech was because I was just a tech geek, which you can tell by looking at me. But I was building my own computers, and that was a real high in demand skill in the mid to late 90s. That it was very rare that people knew their stuff during the .com boom. So when I came back from med school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just landed on a game testing job at Activision for like $5 an hour or whatever. I was playing games and QA-ing them, quality assurance or game testing. And Symantec then hired me on Norton Antivirus. So I went from human viruses to computer viruses, and then Microsoft got wind of me and made me an offer and moved me up to Seattle. And so it was just all dumb luck, like most careers kind of are. And so I was on the office team up there, and after a while, I just became very unhappy. That was around when the .com crash happened, early 2000, and I decided I was going to just take a year off and travel, because back then, if you literally posted your resume online at night, you'd wake up to 5 offers the next morning. And I don't mean like 5 inquiries, I mean offers. You didn't have to interview or anything. 6-digit offers, no problem if you were in the .com industry. It was a real crazy time. And so I went to the game developers conference because I had a bunch of friends there and I just wanted to hang out with them. This is in San Jose in early 2000, late 99. And I was just unemployed on purpose because I was just traveling around. And I saw a guy with an Imagineering jacket on. His name was Jesse Schell, who later became my boss, but I didn't know it at the time. And I went up to him because I was like, "Hey, you work at Imagineering, and why are you at a game convention?" He's like, "Well, we're checking out new technologies. I'm in the research and development division." And I said, "Oh, interesting. Do you in the virtual reality group in R&D?" And I said, "Oh, do you know about the Rocketeer project?" And he was like, how do you know about that? Well, it turns out I had met Tony Baxter a number of times leading up to that point. Tony was not a public figure really at the time, but so I just happened to know him. And Tony told me about a VR project that Imagineering had done in-house that led to the Aladdin project that you probably, or you may have seen at Epcot, if you remember the Imagineering workshop where you put the VR goggles on and fly through Aladdin. His group was responsible for that. But previous as a test, they did a Rocketeer one where you'd put on a helmet, a Rocketeer helmet, and you'd VR fly around to the plane and save, the plane or something like that. And so the guy, Jesse, was like, how do you even know about that? So I told him that story. He's like, what are you doing right now? I said, well, I worked for QA for Microsoft, and now I'm just tooling around, and I'll get a job in the next couple months, whatever. And he gave me his card and said, give me a call. And I was like, like it was weird because it was like my crush my whole life finally asked me to prom, right? And I never thought that I would be involved with Imagineering. I always dreamed of it, but it wasn't a realistic career path for me because I was going to be a physician. And even working for Microsoft in QA, I didn't think that that would lead to a job at Disney either like this. So it was just right place, right time. I came down and I interviewed, and I could tell at the end of the interview, I was very depressed actually, because at the end of the interview, I was living in Seattle still for Microsoft, having been working for Microsoft at the time, but I wanted to get back to LA. And they flew me down for the interview, did the interview. And I remember when it ended, I was depressed. And the reason that I was depressed was, and this sounds weird, give me a minute, I knew I had gotten the job. The reason I was depressed was the .com industry was still popping hot. And I knew somebody was going to make me a job offer of really good money. And Disney is known for giving job offers for very bad money. So I was like, look, I'm going to have to turn this down because I can't take a $50,000 a year job with Imagineering when I'm being offered 6 digits solid elsewhere, right? It just didn't make any sense. So I was really depressed. And then when they called me and made me the offer, it turned out they made me an offer higher than any other job offer I actually could have gotten at the time. And the reason was because it was R&D. So the R&D group, research and development, in case anybody watching doesn't know that, but research development at Imagineering, and this sounds arrogant, and gosh, I swear, if I'll scream imposter syndrome, but Imagineering is cream of the crop in general, in most people's eyes, but R&D is the cream of the crop of Imagineering. So the people who were there were former astronauts, celebrities. We would do the presentations direct to Eisner and Iger at the time. We were really considered our own little almost startup within the Imagineering world. And so to have been made that offer it was incredible because they took monetary care of the R&D group, at least at that time. This is in 2000. So long answer to a short question, but that's kind of how that all came to be, and they moved me back down. They moved me down from Microsoft, and I started working in Imagineering.
That's awesome. So obviously working in Imagineering R&D was probably pretty amazing. Was there one or two projects you can tell us about that you worked on that you were really proud of?
So it's interesting. So R&D creates technologies. It's a little different than what most of the people who are watching this think of as Imagineering. You probably think of Imagineering as, hey, I want to create an attraction, ride, or show. We put resources into it. We do analysis. We create the assets. We create the story, etc. That's not R&D. R&D sort of works in a bit of a vacuum. And what we do is we would create technologies for technology's sake. And then we would have an open house. And again, I don't know how it works now. This is 25 years ago. But we would have open houses where we'd showcase all these interesting technologies that different groups within R&D had created. And the attraction designers could come along and cherry pick those technologies to insert into their attractions if it supported the story they were trying to tell. So one of the things, I didn't work on this one, but to give you an example of something you guys have seen, when you go through the Winnie the Pooh ride, and it's broken all the time now, but there's a little cannon, in the Heffalump and Woozle scene, there's a heffalump, I think I have that right, and he lights the fuse and it blows a smoke ring out at you. Now that used to work consistently. I haven't seen it working for a decade now, but that was a technology where we would sit in the office and we just created it having nothing to do with Winnie the Pooh. And you'd just be sitting there working. All of a sudden, somebody from way across the room would blow a smoke ring at you while you were working, because that's the kind of people we were over there. And then eventually the Winnie the Pooh people saw that technology, pulled it, and put it in the attraction. So personally, I worked on two things which weren't theme park really related at all that dovetailed into it. One was the show How to Be a Millionaire was huge back then. It was a phenomenon in 2000. And we created the technology where, or at least my team, not me solely, but the team that I was on, where you could go watch the show live on ABC. And while it was airing, you could play it at home on your computer along and win prizes and things like that. That was very advanced technology for 2000. And then they pulled some of that technology to put in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Play It in the parks later on. Another project that I'll say is a joke, because it is so stupid now, but was incredibly advanced back then. Obviously, there were no smartphones. This is 2000. The iPhone wasn't invented for 8 years after I was there. I think it came out in 2008. But we had, if you remember Pocket PCs, the Microsoft Compacts, they were almost like mini iPads, but way, way worse and less technologically advanced. And the touchscreen only worked with a stylus and stuff. I actually took A Bug's Life, the DVD, figured out a way to rip the film onto a compact card, a compact digital card, and put it in there so you could actually, mind-blowing, you could actually watch a movie without a TV while you were on the subway or something like that. It was mind-blowing technology. So that's something that I worked on back then. Now it's blasé. And what's interesting about that, and we were sort of talking about this a little bit before the show, Disney announced just today that they have a partnership with Meta for their glasses, right? Their smart glasses. When you're walking through the park, AR things can happen and you can interact with them. Tied to that handheld PC project was the thought, what if we could make Disney anywhere? And what I mean by that is, say you went to the Grand Canyon. You could have your mini PC with a Disney program on it that would tell a story or walk you through the Grand Canyon and essentially show you Disney's Grand Canyon. So it would expand the theme park story outside of the theme parks themselves worldwide. And that was part of what that was part of the project for. It's blasé and stupid now, because if you don't have a movie on your phone alone, you're about 10 years behind. But it was really advanced in 2000. Yeah.
So being able to be so far, I mean, you're like way behind the scenes, because like you said, you were creating things that the Imagineers didn't even know they needed yet. That's
a great way of putting it. Yeah, I agree.
What was it like in that culture? I mean, you guys are like going to be, you're again, it's one of those kind of, seat of your pants. Hey, what's going on? What are we going to do next? And how does that change your view of, when you visit theme parks now?
Oh, wow. So I'll slightly vague out the question, but hopefully provide an interesting answer. You see these large companies like Disney Imagineering, Microsoft. I worked for Symantec, I worked for Sony and Honda. And you think to yourself, these are large companies. These guys know what they're doing, right? They're professional. They got it. They understand it. They're going to work on it. And what I'm here to tell you, the biggest secret in entertainment and any major company, not even outside of it, even outside of entertainment, they have no idea what the hell they're doing. So to answer that question, everyone's faking it. Everyone is always faking it. And the neat thing about Disney is that Imagineering is it's kind of encouraged to fake it. You can say, I have no damn idea, but I'll go off and try to figure this out, because you're always trying to create something that's never been done before for the most part, if you're doing your job well, right? So you're always spit and duct taping everything you're doing. You just years later see the end product where it's done in fiberglass and done well with safety checks and welding. But 99% of where Disney stuff starts is just Lego sets or 3D printers or back of a napkin, and that there's a lot of lore about that, and Disney loves to rah that, but it really is true. That's kind of how things get done, and R&D is even dirtier. This wasn't my group. I've never been a hardware guy, so I never really knew robotics. That's just not my area. But if you remember, there was I think it was Lucky the dinosaur, that was in California Adventure for a while. Right before that, another group in R&D that I want to say worked with. I didn't work with that team, but just we were co-workers, I should say. But they literally built a multi-million-dollar robot that was huge. It was probably 30 feet tall, something like that. It was like Ed 209 from RoboCop. And one of the neat things about R&D is we would spend millions of dollars to create a giant robot and then point at it and go, that's super cool, and then put it in mothballs and never talk about it again. There were technologies like that. There's some technologies from when I was there 25 years later that are still kind of mind-blowing. There was one where they would take, and again, this was optics. I wasn't an optics guy, but they would have mirrors and almost like lasers, and they would all come to a focal point and ionize the air at that focal point, and a spark would just sort of appear, and it would keep going in the air. So you could make a Tinkerbell with that literally could just fly around a room. Weird stuff like that. And the way that R&D works, by the way, like I said, is we would have these dog and pony shows where the other parts would come in, but we had a lot of government interest. We would host the DoD, the Department of Defense would come through a lot, because if you think about it, fireworks technology is similar to munitions technology. There's a lot of that crossover. So we'd have VIPs come through all the time. We had Douglas Adams, the guy who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, who's passed away since then. He came in and would tour the place. We'd have rock stars come in and tour the place. And we had some of those people working for us. We actually had John Paragon, who also has passed away, unfortunately, since then. John was Jambi in Pee-wee's Playhouse. And he and I became friends, actually, working together. We go to lunch and stuff like that. And gosh, just as a total side note, Paul Pee-wee would call him while we were at lunch, and John would be so annoyed with it. The two were like a married couple, and he'd be like, yeah, what? Okay, I'm at lunch. Can you leave me the F alone? That kind of thing. And hang up, and he'd turn to me and go, yeah, that was Pee-wee. And I'm like, what? We'd have these really amazing writers, because even with the technologies, to sell those technologies to the other departments, we wanted to tell a story. And I know you hear Disney, it's almost laughable how much Disney says story, story, story. And a lot of times, to be honest, Disney uses story to cover for when the rides or attractions may not be that great. Like, you've seen that in reverse. But in order to sell those things, we did like to create a story and hype it up a little bit to get them to pick our stuff. So I don't know. I think that kind of answered your question. I may have gone off the rails.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, well, that was good. So then fast forward, right, a little bit, transition into reality TV. In 2003, you were on Average Joe. So tell us a little bit about how that opportunity kind of came about, what it was like to just suddenly be on reality TV. Yeah.
Again, probably a longer answer than you want, but probably interesting anyway. So I'll tell it. After Imagineering, I did a couple of other jobs in the .com world, crashed. And at the time, I was working for Countrywide Home Loans on their website, which is a horrible job. I had to wear a suit to work in the tech industry, but I was still making money when everybody else was unemployed, so I didn't have anything to complain about. And I was bored at work one day, and I was browsing Craigslist. Get your mind out of the gutter. And there was back then they would cast shows like this, and I was a fan of reality TV. So Survivor, the first season was 2000. If I remember correct, 2000 or 2001. I think 2000, though.
2000.
Yes, 2000. It was 2000. And that was really the dawn of modern reality TV. Of course, there was Real World before then, but Survivor was really the first competition show. And I was a huge fan of it. And so I would watch Amazing Race and Survivor. I didn't like Big Brother too much back then, but I watched all these shows and I devoured it. I loved it. So I was on Craigslist and I was single at the time. And there was an ad that said, "Hey, are you the life of the party? New NBC show is interested in having you come on and be a part of a dating show," or something like that. And the kicker at the bottom said, "Looks don't matter." And I was like, that's me. So I called them and I left them a voicemail. And I was right down the street. I was working in Pasadena, and they're obviously in Burbank, which is actually where I live now. And I got a call back 5 minutes later, and they said, "You sound great on our voicemail. Can you come down and interview?" And I never wanted to be on TV. I didn't care. Like, I wasn't that guy who craved it. But I was like, sure, why not? It'd be interesting to see how you cast this stuff. You know, I just want to see what NBC Studios looks like. So I went over there on my lunch break, sat down with the casting directors. They had a camera, kind of like what I'm doing now, and they interviewed me on camera. It was about an hour. And so I was like, thank you, whatever. And they came up to me and they said, "You're really great." I was like, thanks. And they're like, I'm telling you, the producers are going to want to put you on the show. And I was like, be careful what you wish for. Oh no. Like, I was like, I was kind of scared. So I go home. Next day they call me again and they said, "Hey, we've got good news and bad news. The good news is the producers really want to see your tape because they agree with us that you're really good. The bad news is we forgot to hit record. So can you come in and do the same exact interview again for us?" And they're like, "We wouldn't be wasting your time if we really didn't want you for the show." So I was like, sure. So I just drove the 10 minutes back and did it again. And even that time I was making fun of it. They'd ask me a question. I go, "Wow, I've never been asked that before." So I even played with it. And they put me on the show. So Average Joe taped in March, April of 2003. It aired in November. We premiered November 11th, 2003. A lot of people think they remember the show. It did really well in its time. We had really good viewership. It did 4 seasons. But most people think it's Joe Millionaire or Beauty and the Geek. It was neither of those. What it was a show that was essentially The Bachelor with geeky guys. And the premise was generally, here are guys who look like the guys next door. They're not GQ models, but you know, they're the sort of guys you don't normally see on TV trying to date, at least back then. And so went on the show, became temporarily famous, was interviewed on the Today Show by Matt Lauer. That aged well. People Magazine, the whole 9 yards. It was a weird time. And so I became friends with other people on other shows like American Idol and Big Brother and Survivor. We'd all hang out together. Actually, mostly at the Saddle Ranch on Sunset Boulevard. That was the spot. And we'd all go out drinking together like every night, just playing with fame temporarily. And tourists would come through and they'd see us all together and think they were in the third circle of hell. Like, why is a Survivor and an Average Joe and all these guys together? It's like a fever dream. You know, and so, but what I noticed was everybody was complaining about management and how shady everybody was. They were taken advantage of, they weren't being paid, all sorts of things like that. And I kind of realized with my professional background, maybe I can take that, create an agency for myself and my friends who are also on shows and make some money and have fun doing it and that sort of thing. So I started in 2004. And first year I made $0. Second year I broke even, and third year I've been making money ever since. And so I've been in business now for about 21 years. And we've represented everyone, you know, from every type of show. So we do Dance Moms, Bachelor, Survivor, Big Brother, 90 Day Fiance, Love Island, and we put them back. Traitors, we put them back on TV. So I actually just booked somebody on Traitors, for example, booked somebody on House of Villains. We do Instagram promotions. If you ever see someone from Survivor advertising snacky s'mores on their Instagram or TikTok, that may be me. We do college lecture tours where we've sort of, this dovetails into politics and I'd rather stay away right now, but we've sort of focused on diversity initiatives a lot. And so we'll take people who have something to say about their backgrounds or diversity and book them on college campuses or in corporate diversity arenas to tell their story. That's really big with Drag Race, for example. And then just personal appearances too. So pretty much across the board, we just take crazy people and do crazy things with them for money. So that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I've been working in my PJs for 21 years now from home.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
since you already
pretty
told
fun.
us what inspired you to start your talent agency, obviously you were mentioning you've worked with stars from Survivor, Big Brother, Bachelor, etc. What's the most rewarding and the most challenging part of representing reality TV talent?
So challenging is exactly what you think. Some of the talent are great to work with. Some may not be. And it just varies from person to person. I won't name names. But generally speaking, I try to work with the people that I like the most, not because I like them, but because they're appreciative and I like to do things for them. And it makes me happy to do that. So, you can get some egos in there sometimes. You can have locations that book them that don't quite know how to be professional or treat them well either when they get there. Those sort of things that are all pretty much what you would guess. Most rewarding though, and again, if I apologize if this dives into politics a little, I'll stay as easy as I can on it. But back in the mid 2000s, before anybody had seen, Jenner or any of that stuff, we had a trans cast member, male to female, who was on The Real World. Her name was Caitlin Cusinelli. And Caitlin, we would book on college campuses to discuss her journey as a trans female. And we would have students come up crying because she would be booked in places like Oklahoma or Mississippi or what have you, crying, I've never seen anybody like me or what I have been through, and to hear your story right here in person, and you're famous too, means so much to me. And I was suicidal, but I'm not anymore because this makes me really feel seen and wanted. And that to me was really probably the most rewarding part of this job for 21 years, is when we get reactions like that. I'm not here to change minds or to be political, but at the same time, if people can feel seen and heard, and really let them understand that there's love out there, it's really just rewarding us.
Interesting. And I think that kind of dovetails into this next question. Real Management has been around for over 20 years. What do you think has kept your company successful in such a competitive industry?
Bribes. That's a great question. I think it's probably I'll rah-rah myself a little. It's probably a combination of raw luck and intelligence and right place, right time. I think most successes aren't entirely by design. I think it requires a bit of luck, maybe throwing yourself out there and seeing what sticks. But I've moved with the times as best I can. I'm aware of my place in the universe. I think I'm pretty self-aware, and if things aren't going well, I try to change things up accordingly. But I will say that as a small business owner, the most you can ever say is, I'll be here another year. Beyond that, you're faking it. I don't know if I'm going to be here in 5 years, but I've been saying I'll be here another year for 21, and God bless, hopefully till I'm under the ground, I can keep saying that. Look, if I can collect a paycheck from my own work until the day I die, I win. That's sort of the way that I look at it. So.
Yeah, that's. I had my own company for a while, and I just kept saying, if I can get through the next 2 weeks, I'll be fine.
Yeah, and you said that for how many years?
For 15 years.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you turn in the safety for freedom, I think, is what it is.
Yeah. Definitely.
And by the way, along those lines, because of this choice that I made, I've traveled the world with my talent in ways I never thought I would do. I've been with my talent to Indonesia, to Thailand, to Japan, to Italy, to Turkey, Copenhagen, and a lot of the US too, Canada, Mexico. These are all experiences where I'm sitting here going, like a good friend of mine's Ruthie from Real World. If you remember Ruthie from Real World Hawaii, it's going back a long ways. And Ruthie and I did an event in Turkey. And I watched her season before I was on mine. So I was a fan of the show. Real World was just a touchstone back then. And I'm backpacking through Europe with Turkey with Ruthie. And I'm thinking to myself, if you had told me 10 years ago I'd be doing that, I would have thought you were smoking some serious crack. It's surreal. I got to ring the opening stock exchange bell with Kenneth Cole, Liza Minnelli, and my client Mondo, who was on Project Runway. He was HIV positive. And it was for Amphar. And I'm standing there in the stock exchange going, why am I here? This is like the incredible opportunity of this. So none of that is lost on me whatsoever. It's been incredible, some of the things I've been able to do as a result of a stupid response to a Craigslist ad. Right?
Right.
Absolutely and genuinely life changing to just throw yourself out there and try something different.
Yep.
Wow. Gosh, so now we're kind of shifting another way, but I was like, yeah, it's so interesting. I love the path, right? Just like every kind of step you take, right, where it leads you, and it could lead to something just completely different from what you thought. So just
Absolutely.
Pretty
amazing.
Thanks. So Global Disney Parks, you have been to every Disney park worldwide.
Yeah.
So which park or attraction stands out the most to you and why?
Two of them, if I may. Winnie the Pooh in Tokyo is fantastic. I can ride that ride over and over again. And I'm actually not a very big Fantasyland guy, but that attraction, for anybody who's not familiar, the one in Tokyo at Tokyo Disneyland has nothing to do with the ones that you've been on, well, anywhere else, Hong Kong, Florida, or Anaheim. Those are fine. They're dark rides. They're cool. The one in Tokyo Disneyland, which opened about 20 years ago and plus now, still is probably my favorite Fantasyland ride. It has heart, but the technology behind it and the way it makes you feel, it's just fantastic. Go Google it and go watch a YouTube video. I don't know if have you been, guys? Because if you have a video of it, somebody should go see it. It's fantastic. And then the other one right now is Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai. It's hard to see on a YouTube video how high those ceilings are, how impressive it is, but it is. It's a whole nother level. If you thought Rise of the Resistance was big when you go into the room with the AT-ATs, it feels even bigger somehow. It's just an incredible attraction. And I'm really looking forward because they're probably going to use that ride system for Avatar. I'm here in LA. And I'm dying to see how they pull that off. It's a fantastic ride system.
Very cool. So let's talk about your YouTube channel, Worldscape Scenery. What inspired you to start documenting your park visits, and what do you hope viewers take away from it?
So years ago, gosh, let's see, around 2008, I had a flip cam, which was a very advanced 720p camera back then. And I would take these trips. Oh, there we go. That's me. I would take trips with my talent. And if I was at a Disney park or somewhere else even, what I started doing was setting up my camera in a picturesque location, and I'd let it run for 10 minutes on a tripod, like a webcam. I wouldn't get in it. I wouldn't narrate, no music, nothing in it. And to me, that was my way of capturing the feeling of being in the parks. If you watch videos, there's fast cuts, there's music, there's all this stuff going on, but you never really got the sense of what it's like when you could just sit on a bench and have this as a window, almost like Back to the Future 2, right? The Scenery channel. So during COVID, I kind of realized that I had about 800 of these videos that I had done for over a decade around the world. And so since people were stuck in their houses, I just started streaming them. And it's so if you ever want to just feel, and it's background stuff. I'm not expecting people to stare at it, but I have one for Disney World, I have one for international parks, I have one for Disneyland, I have one for Universal, and I do them live just because, frankly, I get more viewers if I do them live than just throw them up there. But if you ever just want to go to sleep feeling like you're on a park bench at Epcot, you can just pull one up, let it go. And I've got hundreds of videos. They're shuffled and they're going live 24/7. And you can just sort of feel like you're in the parks relaxing. Earlier this year, I kind of realized people want to feel also like they're riding rides too. So I went and recorded all the attractions at Disneyland, most of them at Disney World during my last trip. And it shuffles those. These are all separate channels, so you can pick what you want to watch. And the ride one, which you were just showing, I think it was just showing new Walt Disney show at Magic Kingdom. Yeah, Disneyland rather. That's the show. You could probably rewind it and get a sense for it a little bit better because that's kind of weird. But in any event, it's always just showing random shows and rides from the parks 24/7. So again, if you want to just take a break, feel like you're in the parks for a little bit, you can just pull it up and it's just serving up POV videos of the rides and attractions at the parks all day long there. So you can just, so there you go. And it's just like that all day long. So I like it to work too. I watch it when I'm working a lot of times. I'll watch it when I go to sleep. It's great background stuff. You get up to grab a drink of water in the middle of the night and, you know, you're on Pirates of the Caribbean or something. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that is really cool. 24. When we talked about it and you said you were doing 24 streams, I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I should look into that more. And obviously I did that earlier, or I think late last year and early this year. But it's a great idea. And again, if you want to go to his website, you can go to Worldscape Scenery on YouTube. I'm going to share the link in the chat right now. But yeah, it's really, really cool. And I encourage all of you to check out his YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's great background. It just makes you feel like you're at the parks. I have a 75-inch TV, and I'll just go to bed sometimes with it just on my own stream. Maybe that's arrogance. I don't know. But I'll, you know, I kind of feel like being at the international parks. And oh, look, it's, you know, views of Tokyo Disney Sea right now and that sort of thing, you know, that I've recorded. And it just sort of makes you feel like you can just relax with that as your background is the idea. Yeah. And I'll do some lives in the parks. We live streamed. When I saw you, I live streamed. I had my client, Abby Lee Miller from Dance Moms there with me. And we streamed us sort of wandering around the parks. If you want to know what it's like hanging out with Abby Lee Miller at Knott's Berry Farm, you can watch that stream, I guess. We got stuck in the elevator for half an hour. That was fun.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, well, she took it in stride. It was actually pretty funny. But yeah, so, you know, I'll do some live streams with my daughter sometimes, but we don't get a ton of views. So I just kind of put it up there for the heck of it. You know, I have an Osmo Pocket 3, so I want to exercise it a little and whatever.
Awesome.
Very cool. Well, you've had such a diverse career from Imagineering to reality TV talent management. What's next for you? Do you see yourself ever returning to themed entertainment in some way?
Oh, I'll be dead before tomorrow, so I haven't really thought that far in the future.
Jeez.
If that actually happens, you're going to get a lot of watches on your stream. No, I have no plans to finish things off. Right now, my biggie is that I have a 14-year-old daughter who is a human eye roll, and a fiance watching this, laughing at me probably from the other room right now. We're trying to figure out our wedding. We want to probably get married in Paris. We got engaged in Paris. We want to probably get married there. And I'm trying to figure out how I can break away from her for a day or two and go to Disneyland while I'm there. But, you know.
Just do the wedding at Disneyland Paris. There you go.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not a wedding at the parks or engagement at the parks kind of guy. Like, I like to... I like to be a little more creative. That sounds negative. I'm not poo-pooing, but I'd say I like to be more creative and do something totally random. I told her before I proposed in front of the Eiffel Tower, which was super cheesy. But I told her before, I was like, if I propose to you, you're never going to know what's coming. You'll never know. You'll have no idea that I'm about to get down on one knee. And I was right. She had no idea. Her head, mind blown. So that was kind of cool.
But she said yes.
Oh, well, she has a bad crack addiction. So I have a theory that if you propose marriage but you don't know what the answer is, you shouldn't be proposing marriage. You should just know. You should have talked about it already. It should be obvious that that's what you both want. That's a theory I have. Whatever. But in any event, So no, we're that's probably next for us. As far as the business is concerned, I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to expand in new areas. I may start to do some production work a little bit more. We have some of my talent that are, like I said, going to be on Traitors, going to be on House of Villains, some other shows coming up, hopefully. So yeah, it's I kind of have it. I don't know. I don't want to sound awesome, but kind of have it down now. You know, I've got it sort of running on autopilot, so it's pretty good.
Would you ever consider creating your own reality show?
It's a good question. Boy, I actually have a story about this. It's tied to Disney, but because it's nothing official yet, I don't want to go there. But suffice it to say, I wound up meeting a producer in line for Space Mountain one time because I don't remember exactly what it is, but his kid needed help with something. I told him about how you could type the number in to get the photo pass pictures for your son. And we wound up talking, and it turns out he was a major producer, and we got to talking, and now we're business partners and friends, and maybe working on something of that nature. So another random Disney encounter. So there's your lesson. Be nice to the people in line in front and behind you. So.
Well, if you need 3 reality stars for a Disney type of show, I can give you a couple of names.
Well, Disney will do that one internally. They'll do all that stuff without my help, I can assure you. And right now they need all the help they can get, but we're not gonna go there.
Right. Well, everyone in the chat, if you have a question for Mark, please throw it in the chat. We're going to start starting them, but we have something new that we're going to try tonight, and we are going to ask 5 rapid flag questions for the Park Streamers Hangout to Mark, and he has 30 seconds to answer these. So we need you to answer them as quickly as possible.
Wait, is it 30 seconds each? Is it 30 seconds each or 30 seconds
total? Yeah.
Okay.
This is gonna be fast.
We don't actually have a timer, but we're gonna just kind of.
I am setting a timer on my phone, so you guys will be able to hear it when the time is up. But we're gonna ask these as fast and get just quick answers here, Mark. That's all we're looking.
Yeah, I'm excellent at quick answers, as you can tell. So, all right.
All right. You ready for this one? Here we go.
Got it.
5
Let's do it.
rapid flag questions. Disney and theme park fun. Here we go. Best Disney parade or nighttime show of all time?
Spectrum Magic.
Okay. Your vote for the most underrated attraction?
Underrated attraction?
Yes.
I don't know. I'll go back to Winnie the Pooh, although it's rated pretty well, but you got me on the spot.
There you go. Most cherished Disney or theme park souvenir that you own?
I have a ride vehicle in my house here, but...
yeah. Right. If you could bring back any extinct attraction, what would it be?
Horizons. Easy.
Horizons. And finally, Dole Whip or Churro?
Oh, Dole Whip.
There we go. All right.
Awesome.
Timer's up.
Dole
We got them in.
Very well done.
Made it.
Nice. I love
Made it.
Very
Horizons. And actually, I want to say this because the people watching this should know about this. If you're an old Epcot fan, there's a project called Futureport 82. Google it. You download it, you run it, and you can actually walk through. It's incredibly detailed. It'll blow your mind. Old 1982 Epcot. And he's even created some of the rides and pre-shows, and it doesn't look janky. It looks like it was made by a major corporation. And it's the best thing that you'll ever see. So, and I have no connection to it. It's fantastic. So Futureport 82, if you like my Horizons answer, you will love that. And it's free. It's really, really cool.
All right, very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All
Well,
right,
you've
do we have
already
any
set the
questions
bar
here?
for the rapid flag questions. So, and any subsequent guests are going to have to try to beat that time.
We got this.
Okay, but by the way, I didn't see this earlier. Did you guys see this? We actually got a $100 super chat from Al Slim, and he says, best Disney bedtime stories for big kids. Great. Al, that is amazing. Thank you so much.
you.
I did not. How did we miss that one earlier? Whoa, that is
So we
crazy.
just
So,
wanted to- yeah.
no kidding. Do we still have Al in the chat? I don't know. Do we? Let's see here.
Sean, yeah.
Al, thank you so much. That is amazing. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
The only super chat I've ever gotten was my fiance.
Well,
She threw me a charity super chat.
Oh, that's awesome. Al, we can't say thank you enough. So, we have to do our whatchamacallit, confetti in the background here to say thank you. So thank you, Al. That was so kind and generous of you. All right. If you guys have any questions for Mark, now's the time to ask him. So throw those. Everyone's throwing flags into the chat. Throw those questions into the chat so we can ask them for Mark. I think Krista Joe has one right here. Oh, never mind. Where a spaceship here is. He's interested in that. Never mind. I thought that was a question for you. Let's see. Oh, I got another question for you. So besides Tony Baxter, who are some of the other cool Imagineers you've worked with?
Gosh, it's interesting. There's so many Imagineers there that you've never heard of. Great guy, David Postal. You've never heard of him. He worked on so many things and just was a great guy and did great work. Chris Merritt. Chris is fantastic. I have a lot of issues, and again, I can go down this rabbit hole with Imagineering currently and how a lot of those people have left to Universal. I can tell you there's some people like Chris Merritt who understand and love what makes Disney fantastic in a classic sense, also moving it into the future. Chris is amazing. I know he's at Universal now, but Chris is just inspiring. Chris is extremely talented in many ways. And to me, my ultimate Imagineer has always been Mark Davis. I had met him. Alice Davis actually got us in the Club 33 once. And nice. I can tell you that Mark was absolutely my inspiration he was really my compass for what I believe a Disney Imagineer should be and what they can do. Mark was incredible. Real amazing talent to me.
Paul would like to know, do you remember David Mumford and Bruce Gordon and Tom Schwartz?
Yes, as a matter of fact, funny enough. So before I ever thought I'd ever work for Imagineering, I was a little hooligan in the late 80s, and I used to sneak into the press openings for the attractions. Don't do this now. You will get arrested. Back then, you could get away with this nonsense. You literally, and I'm not joking, you will literally get arrested for doing some of the things we used to do without a problem. But I snuck into the Splash Mountain premiere party. As a matter of fact, I have all my video camera footage. I should post it on my channel. And I met Dave and Bruce there at the opening for Splash. Great guys. And of course, they did. I think Bruce, I don't know if Mumford was involved, but I know Bruce did the Nickel Tour, which is sort of the de facto book. Right. That and Randy Bright's Disneyland book. But yeah, great guys, did really good work at the parks. Gone way too soon. Really sad, because honestly, Disney Imagineering, I'm gonna really rant for old guys screaming at the sky, but Disney sort of lost its way a little bit because it doesn't have that institutional memory anymore. And people like Tony Baxter, Dave Mumford, Bruce Gordon, Chris Merritt, hopefully myself, we understood the classic Disney, and we didn't go into Haunted Mansion and say we need to put our stamp on it and change things around in 2025. We were more concerned with the creativity and the story and new things that would enhance the guest experience and that sort of thing. And those guys knew all that, but I think a lot of that institutional memory, unfortunately, is gone at Disney, and it's a lot of people who don't really know the history and don't have that nostalgia for it anymore.
Amen.
Well, that yes, exactly. We're right on board with you there, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, this leads right into.
I was going to say, just real quick, I wanted to say, Josh Shipley told me to say hello.
Yeah. Oh, Josh. I have my Imagineering hard hat that he made for me, actually. Josh, great guy. You know what? I should have brought him up too. And I know he's not there anymore. Josh completely understood and appreciated what made Disney Disney. And just a good guy to boot. I really love Josh a lot. Wow, I'm glad he said something. I saw him last at D23 a couple years ago. Real good guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that leads right into this question from Adventures of the Roto Commish. Mark, what would you do to fix Tomorrowland?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to assume we mean Disneyland, not Disney World.
Yes.
Disney World. don't like Disney Worlds, although I think I'm in the minority. But I think that first of all, let's not put IP in there. I think if you want a timeless, first of all, that's a dead idea. That's never going to happen. So let me just be clear. What I want is not what's going to happen. Everyone wants People Mover back. It needs to come back. That's a given. Whether it's themed or not, sometimes you need to theme things to get it past the goalie so that you get the approval to do it. I just think that Tomorrowland was always my favorite part of the park. There was an optimism there. There was something different. There was nowhere else like it. I think they're looking at maybe a Fantastic Four-ish overlay or something. But I will say this, no matter what they do with it, they need to do it. It has been longer with this junky Tomorrowland since 95, 96, I think it is now, than either of the first two iterations, which were far more successful, of Tomorrowland. And it's just kind of sad. It's just sad. But please don't make it another Star Wars land or Fantastic Four land. And that's inevitable. That's what's going to happen. But I just want to feel like I'm on another planet in a different place. That's what Tomorrowland is there for me.
Well, that's been my biggest concern, is that we don't have rides like Big Thunder or Matterhorn like that anymore, that original or Space Mountain. I wish they would get back to doing that instead of those IPs. And again, IPs are great, but they're just IPing out the whole parks. And I would love to see some originality come back to the parks.
Yeah, I mean, look at California Adventure has had one since 2000. It opened in 2001, right? So in 24 years, I mean, of course, there's the carnival rides, but I'm not talking about the flat rides. But generally speaking, there's only one non-IP attraction, I think, at the park, and that's Soarin'. And that's for 24 years. You know, even if you want to take Mystic Manor, which I didn't mention earlier, but I love me some Mystic Manor. Bring that here. It'd fit perfectly in Paradise Pier. It's pseudo IP, but I will say this in all fairness. Back in the day, before the internet, before you could ride or watch a POV of an attraction 5 minutes after it opened while you're in Thailand and the attraction's in Anaheim, pop culture was defined by some Disney things, and we don't really have that anymore. So, and what I mean by that is Small World, it was just a ride. Yet there was a record, and kids around the world kind of knew the song, but it was from a ride. You don't have that anymore. So if I open an attraction with an amazing song and a fantastic attraction, though, it doesn't reach pop culture status anymore because that lens is different in the way that it's looked at in parks. So I understand the need to shortcut with IP. I think it's a little lazy, but if it's what we need to do to get things done nowadays, I have to begrudgingly agree, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree. Got a couple of comments here. Mattercam Matt says he seems like someone I would love to go have drinks with.
I'm drunk right now. If Mattercam Matt, I watch the Mattercam all the time. That was actually something that gave me inspiration for my channel too. Yeah, I'm 54. I don't drink as much as I used to, but that doesn't mean I don't. So yeah, you can hit me up next time at the park for sure.
Awesome. And then we've got Paul M. Newitt says, in my opinion, Mark should write his biography. Too interesting.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how to respond to that. Thank you. I genuinely thank you. I'm not just saying that jokingly. It's a very big compliment. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And for
Krista Joe, Mark, how many times did you ride Shanghai's Pirates of the Caribbean when you first rode it? That attraction looks mind-blowing.
It is. Let's see. I've been to Shanghai once. I was there for 2 days right after it opened. Probably went on at 5. So the thing is, there was no line. So it was great. You can't stay on it, but you could just keep looping around. I probably rode it 5 or 6 times that day. I loved Tron too. Tron's great. At Hong Kong, I was just in Hong Kong a couple of months ago too. Grizzly River or Grizzly, I always forget the name, but the Grizzly Rapid
Gulch
Mine
or something?
Train. I don't know, the roller coaster in Grizzly Gulch there. That's probably my favorite Disney coaster, and it kind of combines Expedition Everest with Big Thunder. You can watch a POV, but I think I may have even posted a POV on my channel of it. It's a great attraction. So I pick and choose. I think the international parks are kind of getting the better attractions right now, to be honest with you, other than Rise of the Resistance. I think that's kind of where the attention is, especially Tokyo.
Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars.
That's it. Yeah, I can't. It's a mouthful. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Shanghai Disney's. It's a great park. It's Pirates is nothing like you've experienced anywhere else. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And Lori asks, says, "Hi, Mark. I thought I heard you mention having a ride vehicle at your house, but which ride is that from?"
So it's actually from Orange Stinger, from California Adventure. I was at California Adventure at the time, and yeah, it's one of the ride vehicles that they never used. They never used it after opening because they had little bee heads on them. It's kind of it's lore, but they would crash into the ones in front of them and they'd all break, and so they threw all of them out theoretically.
Very cool.
I got all sorts of weird Disney stuff around here. I have a Haunted Mansion sign. I have an old metal Skyway sign that hung in the parks.
Oh, cool.
I have I can look at it here, but you can't see it. But I've got a 66 wall map, professionally framed on the wall and stuff like that. But I try to keep it kind of cool, so I'm not the 54-year-old virgin, you know.
Well, you have your Star Wars arcade game,
I was
and then
saying,
talk about your pamphlets in the back.
I know. Oh, the pamphlets. So when I would travel around the world, I'd always come home with boxes of pamphlets. A lot of them were park maps. And by the way, I go to the Universal parks. The Hello Kitty park in Japan is fantastic, Sanrio Puro Land. And fantastic in the way that it's so horrible, it's fantastic. But again, I digress. And so I realized they're all just sitting in a box somewhere. So I got a pamphlet rack off Amazon years ago, and they're all just sitting out there like a hotel. You can kind of see them, I guess, over there. But these are pamphlets from the Louvre, from Japan, from Colorado Springs, Amish country, you know, all over the world, China. So I just kind of collect them from all the places that I've been, and then it kind of makes a display and brings back good memories. And I don't know, you can get drunk with Mattercam Matt and go through them one day. So.
All right. I don't see any other questions. You guys?
Okay, cool.
He's okay, cool.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, cool.
I got my vodka here.
Cracking up, Mark. Let's see. I don't think we have any other questions here. Looks like we might be good.
All right.
Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure, and obviously, you know, it's been great. You know, obviously getting to know you, and really appreciate you taking the time to come onto the show. Danny, Cordy, and I really were looking forward to this interview, as well as many of our guests. And it's great because obviously you're friends with Chris Merritt. We're friends with him as well. He's been on our show a couple times. We've had, you know, Josh Shipley and some other amazing, you know, people like Bob Weiss and Don Hahn and whatnot. So we've had Spaceship Ears, you know, and John DeCour and John DeCour Jr. So it's been awesome, you know, adding you to that list. And I can't say thank you enough for joining us. So you're more than welcome to ever come on the show if you want to, because I'm sure you're going to have some crazy reality story for us.
Well, I've got a lot. Yeah, I have. Wow, I have a lot of crazy stories. I'll probably have some more later this week. The Amazing Race premieres on Wednesday. Going to that party, and then the Big Brother finales on Sunday. It is a weird. It's a weird life. You know, there's a lot of. There's, like I said, if you woke up one day and told me this is what I'd be doing for a living, zipping up Drag Race queens in their hotel rooms they could go perform. That is not why I went to med school. But it's been a lot of fun.
Very cool. Well, don't forget, you guys can go to Worldscape Scenery on YouTube. I believe we have that in the chat that we can bring up there real quick. There it is right there. So you can go to Worldscape Scenery. Look, he's got 24/7 videos going all the time of Disneyland and other things. So go check it out, because I think it's one of the really neat things about your channel that's a little different. You don't necessarily do the live streams, but you go record it and then you put it out, and then sometimes they're 24/7. So I think it's really, really cool. So you guys definitely should go do that, and make sure you hit the like button for his videos, hit that subscribe button. And before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to share with us real quick?
Does anybody want to do a $100 super chat on my channel? Because I'm kidding. I did want to say also, this is probably unrelated to what 99% of the people watching are, because we usually do business to business. But just in case, if there's any reason for you to hire a reality person to do a promotion or personal appearance or something like that, you can reach out to me through my website, which is www.realmanagement.com. That's REEL management. And you can just shoot me an email from there, and I'm happy to work with you. But otherwise, the Disney stuff is mostly a hobby. At this point, with Worldscape Scenery, it's a hobby, but it's one that I thought was kind of unique. And I thought people might like to just visit, and it'd be fun for everybody. So yeah, that's my horrible website, but it gets you to where you need to go.
It's simple right there. Click on that and send an email, right?
Yeah, nobody does work through their websites much anymore. Just send me an email. I have rosters. I can send you info and all that sort of thing. So I prefer a personal discussion. So yeah.
I just shared that in the chat, everyone, in case you want to go to his site. So, Mark, thank you again. It's been amazing having you on the show, and we hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bob. Next time I see you streaming, I'll be sure to come up to you and say hi, keep in touch, all you guys. And thank you so much for your time. It was really fun talking with you about myself. And hopefully I can talk about something other than myself next time. So
awesome. Thanks again, Mark. This was great.
Thank you.
Awesome. You guys have a great night.
All right. Tell your fiance and your daughter I said good night. I'll talk to you.
Oh later. Yeah, they're raring to get something out of the kitchen here. I can hear them already.
All right. Take care, Mark.
Guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was fun. That was fun. Really, really fun. It's so funny because you get guests on here. He had a great sense of humor. He threw me for a loop a couple times there. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that answer. But at the same time, it was really, really cool. And I got to tell you, when I met Mark, it was like we hit it off. And just a super nice guy. And we were just hanging out with people and talking and chatting. And it was really neat to, getting to know him, and I'm so glad that we're friends. But it's been a wonderful week. I want to switch to something that we did last week, and we had the Chalk Walk on August 3rd, and it was thoroughly amazing. The fact that we had some awesome teammates, we had many, many, many amazing donors who donated to the Chalk Walk to help us raise $37,075. And then out of the blue, my dad happened to win the guitar, and thankfully he graciously donated that to the Chalk Walk, which led us into getting invited to the mini Chalk Walk, which we went to last week. And Danny, did you have some of the photos? I didn't have a chance. Do you have any of the photos up by any chance that you can share?
I don't. It would take me a minute.
If not, okay, no worries. I'm going to hold on for a second here. I think I've got something I can share. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let me send these to myself real quick, and then I'll show you guys what we're talking about. Let's see. Send it to Park Streamers Hangout.com.
So what the mini walk is this is for the kids that can't leave the hospital, that that are not able to participate in the Chalk Walk in the park. They do a special walk, and they call it the mini walk, and it is basically sponsored by Minnie Mouse. She is the lead on that one. And so they take a floor of the hospital. It's the second floor at Chalk, and it's where the Starbucks is. They've got the gift shop. They've got the little movie theater. They've got the Ryan Seacrest Studios, all of that stuff. But then there's a big kind of area where they let some of the sponsors set up tables, and they just basically give kids prizes and toys and let them have some fun walking around. And they get to meet Mickey and Minnie, and we had Donald and Daisy there. There's places where they can, color pages and, make little bracelets and necklaces and things like that. They give them the plush toys, all of these different things. And it's just, like I said, it's a chance for the kids to have a different, experience. Their life tends to be, same thing over and over in the hospital. Like we said, these are the kids that can't leave the hospital. And I know for me, I'll just give a quick little story. When me, Bob, and his dad arrived, we went up to the second floor, and we get out of the elevator. And the first kid that I noticed was a little tyke in their mom's arm. And as they're just kind of looking around, and mom's, pointing things out to them, mom's got to carry, got to wheel the IV machine with them as they go. And that's kind of when it hit me. I was like, okay, these are the kids that are, they're really struggling at this time. These are the parents that are just trying to find a distraction, something, that'll take their mind off of things for even just a little while. And as I was talking with Zach, who we had on, I told him that's what I tell my viewers. I tell them we're raising funds so that they can put things like this on, so that they can give kids as much love and whatever it is that they want, that they can have, that will, just get them to be willing to fight one more day. And that's what I always say. No matter how much we give, it's all worth it if we can get one of those kids to fight for one more day. And hopefully it's that one day that makes a difference. And, their ailment is taken care of, and they can go home and be a normal kid with their families again. So that's what this day and these events all mean to me. I'm looking at it as trying to, figure out a way to get the kids to fight for one more day. And that's why I always tell you guys thank you, because it's more than just, hey, let's give some money and make the kids feel better. These kids are fighting for their lives, and the difference that your donations have made, we were able to see it that day with how extravagant it was for these kids. They were just loved on tremendously. And a lot of it has to do with your donations, being able to give Chalk the funds and the means to be able to do those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to let you know, before I show you these photos that I've got prepared already and they're ready to go. So the mini chalk walk, as Danny was saying, is that they go from table to table. It's almost like trick-or-treating, but they're picking up little items from different vendors that are there. Each of those vendors are a sponsor that donates at least $10,000 or more, and it could be anyone from Chick-fil-A to Namco Bandai. Just a lot of great. Disney had a couple tables there, and of course they had Donald and Daisy and Mickey and Minnie that would take turns taking pictures of them. They had coloring for the kids. They had different activities. A lot of the Disney volunteers were there. Our good friend Jada was there as well, and Raul, who were they're the ambassador. Well, they were the ambassadors. They just announced new ambassadors to replace them. That was our last gig. The other cool thing is that the kids that couldn't come down from their rooms to the mini chalk walk, there were Chalk and Disney volunteers who were walking around making bags. I had the big, huge 70th anniversary bags. They were putting one item from each table into a bag to take up to the kids. And then they also had the characters, Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Daisy, go up to see those kids and to say hi to them. The other cool thing that I thought was really interesting, too, that Zach had mentioned to us while we were there, is the fact that the kids who were there for a doctor's appointment or a checkup or a follow-up or anything like that, they actually told the families, hey, we're having a mini chalk walk today. Here's what's happening. You're more than welcome to come join us. And I thought that was kind of neat that they had that as well, because even though they weren't in the hospital, they were treating them, they were, you know, part of the family, and they wanted them to be there, part of the mini chalk walk. And I think one of the things that I thought was really special too is obviously we're there to, you know, my dad was there to pass the guitar to Chalk, but we were one of just a few people that were invited from outside, from the public, to join this mini chalk walk. And I thought it was really cool that we were part of this community. And it was neat because, as Danny and Cordy will tell you too, we walked up and they're like, "Oh, so you're Robert, and you're Robert Sr., and you're Danny." And it was like, "Huh? How do you know who we are?" "Oh, you're the Park Streamers." Wow, okay. They knew who we were. Now, granted, we were wearing our Park Streamers Hangout
kind of helped that we had big Park Streamers shirt,
right?
But you know,
it was kind of cool because everyone knew who we were. Everyone wanted to talk to us, and everyone was excited to see or to be involved with us and to talk about planning for next year, which is really neat. So it's hard to believe that we're, you know, less than 6 months away from, you know, that as well. But we're going to be working with Chalk closely to do something to prepare for next year, really. So, Cordy, do you have anything you want to share real quick before we jump into these photos?
No, I just everything you guys said, and I remember Danny pointing out that sign, because I was looking, I'm like, oh yeah, the balloons, this and that, and it was Defenders of Childhood, and that's like stuck with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they're there to do. That's what what everyone who donated and supported and shared out the chalk walk, you know, that's what you guys helped them provide.
Yeah, it was amazing. So these are some of the photos, just a handful. George Ray and Lynn Ray were with us. George is obviously our team photographer, and he took some amazing photos. So these are just a handful that we're going to share with you tonight. But this is the first one where it's got me. I'm sorry, actually, you got Danny there. Next to him is the music director, Eric, the Chalk Walk ambassador, who we had on our show earlier this year, which was, I can't remember her name now. Please tell me.
It's Belle.
Belle, thank you. And then we got some guy with a guitar. He looks like my dad. And then there's some guy that looks like me. And then there's Cordy right there. So that was our little photo op with my dad passing the guitar over to Chalk. And then we have, let's see here. We had the opportunity to actually stand in front of one of the backdrops that Disney had and show the treasure case with the guitar. And of course, we also have Ashley from Chalk there, and Zach, of course, who was on our show. So that's really cool. Actually, we'll zoom in a little bit there. There you can see them a little bit better. And of course, my dad's, there right behind the guitar. Then we had, Jada, who's in the red blouse there. And then we had Raul. They were the Disney ambassadors. This was their last gig before they passed the torch to the new people who were just selected. And then
Izzo says, "Hey, that case looks familiar."
Yeah, right. Izzo, they love the case. Izzo loved it. We made sure to show them your name on the bottom because Izzo actually put his name as the feet. So IZZO were the feet on the bottom of the treasure chest, which I think is cool. And then we got our photo op with Cordy, myself, and Danny, which is really neat. And let's see. I thought we had one. Who's that guy? And there's me and my dad there. So, but it was really cool. Sorry, I thought I had the other one downloaded too with the characters, but I guess I didn't do that. So my apologies. But it was a great event, and we really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. It was something that I'm really honored and glad that they allowed us to come and join them. And then one thing we're talking about doing next year with them is that we may go back to the Ryan Seacrest Studios. They're actually remodeling right now, and it'll be done probably in the next month or two. But we're going into flu season, so they don't really allow anyone in the studio or the hospital outside of family and the workers until about April of next year, May. So we're going to be invited back to go and check it out, and hopefully maybe participate with some of the kids in the hospital, which would be actually really cool. And that'd be awesome because we'll be right in the middle of fundraising again for the Chalk Walk. So it's really cool. Danny, Cordy, and I are already talking about what we want to do for next year, throwing some ideas out, and we're going to work with Chalk to see what we can come up with. And but again, it was just an amazing experience and so much fun.
Yeah, I'm just over the moon with how incredible this community is. I was blown away this year. Last year I thought was amazing, and like I said, I think I mentioned to you guys, it was I don't know if we're going to hit 14,000. I don't know if we're going to hit 20,000. I don't know if we're going to hit 25,000. And so it just kept going this year. So it's just amazing to see and to be a part of it.
Yep. And the XP66 says, I hope we can help many, many more.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you guys will. So very cool. Okay. So
I just wanted to, before we go to our next topic, I'm thinking. So we have Mike, member for 6 months.
Nice. Let's go there.
Kate E, member for 6 months as well.
Nice. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Flags in the chat.
Flags in the chat.
Thank you again to Al. I cannot believe we actually got $100 super chat. That was amazing. So thank you, Al. Let's see here. So
Adventures of Road
Adventures of Road Commish. Woo!
Yes, continue being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Roto Commish. Appreciate that.
See you soon.
Yes, he's coming out soon. So looking forward to if you guys are coming out to the parks, let us know. Love to hang out with you. I know Road Commish has been, talking to us. I know Carol G had planned a trip. She had to postpone it for now, but she'll be coming back out. GV559 says it's amazing what a glitter hat can do. Yes, it is. Here's the one thing about the glitter hat. I know it started off as a joke, and I was like, no, I'm not wearing a glitter hat. Really? No. And then everyone started throwing in and pitching in. While I had no desire to wear this glitter hat at all, because I really thought it was the ugliest thing ever. I totally went with it, and I had come up with the idea of, hey, we talked about, hey, let's raffle it off, obviously. But then I come up with the idea of, well, maybe, I'll keep it on if people, donate a little bit more money. And that day, the fact that we were able to raise about another $500 just over a glitter hat because people wanted to see me wear it, I appreciate it. And I want to say thank you to Cordy and Danny, because they surprised me that morning by wearing, Cordy was wearing a glitter, ears, and Danny was wearing a glitter vest. And they surprised me because they did not allow me to wear glitter by myself. And I'm glad I didn't have to wear glitter chaps or anything like that. So let's move on. And I hope we're over the glitter thing now. Okay.
We'll come up with something for next year.
Yeah.
Don't
Some
worry.
by the way, people are trying to think what they can do to get me or Danny and Cordy to wear some crazy stuff for next year. And why? Anyhow, thank you for helping us to raise extra money towards the Chalk Walk for that. So, glitter hat.
What if we all wear fascinators? The little hats.
The what?
The little hats, little fascinators. They're like the tiny little hats.
You can do that. Not me. I'll have to let you wear glitter by yourself, Bob. Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate that right there. Oh, Tammy Delaney gifted 5 Park Streamers Hangout memberships. Tammy, okay, we got to throw some glitter, or not glitter. See, you got glitter on my mind. You got to throw some confetti in the background there. Thank you so much, Tammy. You're always so nice and generous. By the way, I promised Tammy I would buy her a glitter hat because she's always so nice and generous and donating gifted memberships to our channel. So I appreciate that. And that'll be going out here real soon here, Tammy.
Let's see who got one. We got Kelly DiMaggio, John E, Kay Wilby, Philip Popescu, and Disney Fan 122. Congratulations to y'all.
That's awesome. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate it, Tammy. Very cool. Hope we will cover the Main Street Electrical Parade on my next Disney live stream or Danny or Cordy's. We'll do it then. but not tonight. Next year we are hitting 100K.
Woo!
Oh my goodness, that is a huge number to hit, EXP 66. But then again, I didn't think we hit 37,000 this year, so you never know, right?
Wow. Like how you think, EXP.
Yeah. Oh, Tammy says, I'm so excited. I will wear the glitter hat in my classroom. Well, you enjoy wearing that glitter hat because I hope you have a lot of fun. Let's see. Okay. Next topic. So let's talk about going from fun to scary. Cordy and I had the pleasure of going to Not Scary Farm on the opening night last Thursday. And they had a couple new mazes, which were kind of cool. We'll talk about that in a moment. But before I say anything else, Cordy, let's talk about your experience and what you thought, because now you were kind of doing this really cool. Cordy went to Oogie Boogie, and you can tell us about your Oogie Boogie experience first if you want. And then she came over to Not Scary Farm and joined us.
Yeah, I couldn't miss out. I was like, it's opening night. I have to at least step foot into the park and like experience some of it. So I had my kind of power hours, 45 minutes of the park. So, but I got to go through Ghost Town, which was amazing. And I did do two mazes, not the new ones, but I did get Cinema Slashes, of course. I love-hate relationship with that maze, but it's so scary every time they get me so bad.
Well, you know what? Real quick. So I took Ariel for the first time to Not Scary Farm on Saturday night. I didn't stream anything, and the first maze she went through was Cinema Slasher, and that's still her favorite maze. So we'll talk about more of that in a moment.
Yeah, so we just did that, and I did Chilling Chambers, which is always, it's a classic, right? Just like, that's a cool one. Yeah, but before that, Oogie Boogie, so I went from like, right, yay, Oogie Boogie, Villains Grove, to like,
Did you get to go to any of the new mazes at all?
No, not yet. So hopefully Saturday, be able to do that.
Oh. I don't know if we're going Saturday or not, but if we do, I'll hit you up.
Well, yeah, that's one of the nights.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Because I'm gonna try. It's my wedding anniversary this weekend, so I'm not sure. It's that we got it. Yeah, kind of important, right? Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. Honey, do you want to go Not Scary Farm? Saturday night. Well, let's talk about Not Scary Farm. They did things a little bit different this year. I went to the buffet first, and I will tell you that the food actually, the mac and cheese was amazing this year. I don't know what they did, but it tasted phenomenal. And they, of course, they're well known for having the regular mac and cheese, but also a fiery Cheeto mac and cheese, which is also really good. And then I experienced the meatballs, of course. That was really good. They had some chicken wings that had a really good flavor, but they were kind of cold. I don't know why they were so cold. Obviously, the staples of, Knott's fried chicken and mashed potatoes. And then let's see, what else did I try that I thought was pretty good? It was on my plate. Oh, they had the boysenberry sausages, which were really good. Yes, they had the carving stations with roast beef and turkey. They just had a lot of good stuff. Now, I will tell you, the food was good. It wasn't great. I've had better food in the past at the buffet, but I will say that some of the staples were great and they tasted really good. So I'm really happy about that. The funny thing was, I walk in and I was by myself, and I look 2 tables over and I see Brian Sevilla there. And I'm like, Brian, what's happening? He's like, I gotta go back to the car. I'm like, leave your stuff here and we'll just come back and join me for dessert. And then another friend who I know from another channel called Walk with Walt. It's a audio podcast. Pete and his family were there. So it was great seeing them and following up with him. He was right at the table next to me. And it was funny because every time I looked around, I'm like, oh, well, there we go. We got Justin Scar. We got this. I mean, there's a lot of people around. But once we got into the park, I wanted to let you guys know a little PSA thing. So in past years, once you go to the buffet and you go inside to the back lot, they usually take your picture with a scare actor. Well, our good friend Glow, who plays the bride on Ghost Town Main Street there. She was actually the person, scare actor, taking pictures. And so I got up, I said hi to her, got my picture with her, and they said, okay, your photo will be ready at 6:30 p.m. After that, you can download it. Well, in the past years, you could just scan the QR code they gave you and you could download it. Well, now you have to go pick it up from their actual photo place there inside the park, or you don't get your photo at all. So I didn't get my photo with the bride because I did not know that. I went home and I'm like, let me scan this code. And it's like, why isn't this working? Oh, I got to go to the pick place inside the park. I'm like, well, that's a bummer. And so you make sure you get your photos that night. And then the other thing is we got in and they opened up the mazes right away for everyone. I think around 6:30, they opened up the mazes, all 4 mazes in the back lot, which was really cool. Brian went to the mazes. I opted to go to this opening ceremony so I can catch that. And that's where I bumped into Mark and his daughter. And it was great, seeing him and talking to him for a bit. They did things a little differently because now the witch is up on one of the buildings with a cauldron. And where the witch normally is on top of the Ghost Rider entrance is the conductor. So unfortunately, where I'm standing, I couldn't see the conductor. I could hear him, but it was cool seeing the witch next to the cauldron and her usual spiel. And then, of course, all the monsters running in, which was neat. I opted to go straight to the new mazes this year and check those out. So I did and went back there. And right away, I got into Mary, which is the Bloody Mary story. Now, I will tell you, it was kind of crazy because when I was going through this maze, the lantern, by the way, the lantern this year, you have to buy the lantern this year. The one from 2 years ago does not work anymore, the original one from the 50th anniversary. So you do need the new one if you have that old one. I did have it, and I was walking through the maze, and there's some really cool interactive spots inside that maze. I did like the setup and the scenery, and the story was okay. But I will tell you, there is one part at the very end of the maze which really got me. It took me by surprise. So people can sabotage your lantern now. So if you press the button on the bottom of the lantern, the little knob that you turn, if you press it like 2 or 3 times, if someone else has a lantern next to you, it'll sabotage you either with monsters or it'll sabotage you in some way. Like your lantern goes out and it will not work, period, at all. No matter how many times you turn it on, turn it off, it won't until you get out of that certain area. And so that's what happened to me. I got sabotaged, my lantern, couldn't see. And you go through this area where there's like all this black cheesecloth that's coming down, and I was trying to get through it. And my gimbal is literally getting wrapped up in it. My lantern's getting wrapped up. My arms are getting wrapped up in it. It was so much. I was like, I'm having a hard time getting through that. I literally was like struggling to get through this area. And, it was kind of crazy. So be prepared for some of the things like that. Also, it was really hot in the maze, and they were kind of jam packing it with people. And I really like it where you can walk through a maze and not have to worry about, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, but it was a cool maze. The zoo was packed. So I opted to go to 8 Fingers 9 and to Widows. And then I came back to the zoo a little bit later. I will say that I don't know why I was having tons of streaming issues. My connection was horrible, but other streamers who were there weren't having any connection issues. So I just don't know if they were on Verizon or another platform. But my AT&T phone did not like me whatsoever. And in fact, that night my stream got shut down 5 times. At the end, I finally said I'm done. So even though it was the end of the night, I will say that the other mazes are just as great as they always are, and the scare zones. But I want to go back to the zoo real quick because the zoo was probably my new favorite of the 2 new mazes. I thought it was really well done. And what's even better is Lights Out. So for those who aren't familiar,
about that.
Yes, so they do a Lights Out. Mm-hmm.
Just a quick, before you go deep into the story, because I do want to hear about this.
Yes.
I know that Danny.
Yeah, I was going to say, since you guys are talking Scary Farm, and I have really nothing that I can add to it, I'm going to go ahead and dip a little bit early, guys, and get a few extra minutes of sleep tonight. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Mark was a fantastic guest. Thank you again, Al Slim, for the super chat, and everybody with your member chats, and Tammy for the gifted memberships. I will see you guys Wednesday evening for our usual favorite Wednesday night stream from SoCal in Disneyland that starts around 5 o'clock. Hopefully be there at 5 o'clock. So until then, have a great week. Have a great couple of days. I'll see you guys Wednesday night. I think, Bob, you'll be there, right?
No, Wednesday. I had a reservation for Wednesday, but my daughter has ice skating that night, so I don't know if I'm going to make it. But for sure, Thursday at Not Scary Farm. So,
okay.
But I'm crossing my fingers for Wednesday.
Yeah. We'll all right then. All right, kids. Have a great night. I will see you guys next time.
See
you,
all right,
kids.
see ya. Bye. All right. Sorry, didn't even see the message you guys are sending back and forth about.
Okay, that's why I was like, oh, because I know this was like the one everyone's been talking about. Like everywhere I look, this is like the one that you know.
Yep. So what happened?
Oh.
Just kidding.
And then there was one.
She's like, what? Yeah, sorry. That was my joke. I just took myself off stream and came back on. Yeah, so the zoo was actually it was a really good maze. I think it's even better with lights out. And for those of you not familiar with what it is that you can actually, and I would tell you, about 10:45 p.m. you want to get in line for the zoo. At least by 10:50, no later than 10:50. And the reason why is because they usually start about 5 to 4 minutes early. They'll actually create the lights out situation, and they act like the power's gone out in the zoo and all havoc is broken loose with the creatures inside, and it's just really, really crazy. And so they give you a flashlight that you can take into the maze because it's lights out. Most of the lights have gone out. There are some lights inside the maze. You can barely see in certain areas, but most of the time you're okay, especially with the flashlight. I will tell you, when they gave me this flashlight and I looked at it, I'm like, seriously, this is the flashlight? This thing is like barely lit. I mean, yeah, you're looking right, but then you go inside and it's actually pretty bright for inside. I feel bad for the scare actors, and I also feel bad for the employees who are working there because people are just flashing those flashlights all over the place and shining it, in their eyes. And I'm like, and I was trying to do my best not to shine it in the, scare actor or employee's eyes, but it made it a lot more fun. I mean, it was really a great experience. And so I would encourage you guys to do it with lights on and then go back in there and do it lights off. But again, try to get in line by 10:50. Don't get in line before 10:45 because I got in line in 10:50 on Thursday, and then when I went back on Saturday with my daughter, we got in line at 10:45, and the line went so fast. People were like stopping in the line, and they said, "Hey, sorry, you got to keep going through the line. You can't stop." And they were forcing people to go through even though they didn't want to. So I would encourage you to get as close to 11 o'clock as you can. And then get in line because it will get packed fast. It was super fun and amazing, and I think it was a great idea, and I hope they do more things like that. They did something back with Pumpkin Eater a long time ago where you went through with like a lantern or a flashlight and it went out while you're going through the maze. So I'm glad they're doing this one. It was a new idea that I'm glad it worked well.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that one out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it was really, really cool. I didn't have a chance to try any drinks or food while I was there. I got a super chat. Thank you from Go and Shogi, but I didn't have a chance to get anything. So Go and Shogi, we'll do something with food or drink on Thursday when I do go back. So I heard Barry Place 28 loved the hanging, Rhoda Kamish says. So the hanging show was... it was fun. It had some, good moments. It's very mature, so 18 plus. I will not let my daughter go see that. She's too young for this. A lot of risque stuff, and of course, there's some profanity in there as well. It had some fun moments and some funny moments, and I like the fact that they play off the fact that they're now part of Six Flags Entertainment. They make bad jokes about it, which is kind of neat that they can do that. But it was better than last year's, that's for sure.
Yeah, last year I think I only went I think I forced myself the third time, but the year before, which was the first year I ever went, and it was the 50th, man, that nothing yeah, that was such an amazing.
Well, it was amazing because it came back and it had been gone for so many years.
Well, yeah,
Last year was just it was okay. I didn't really care for it that much. This year was a lot better, but I still it's not as. Last year I walked out. Road Commission said it wasn't as great as I had hoped it would be this year, but it was still better than last year's. Krista Joe says, I remember you mentioning that Not Scary Farm Nights scheduling was changed to not include certain days. Have you heard if people are still upset about that change? So yeah, well, I haven't heard a lot of upset people about it since originally it went out. But so what it is they're no longer doing Wednesdays at Not Scary Farm, and they're no longer doing Thursdays, I think it is, at Six Flags Fright Fest. So they basically canned one extra night each week. And I'm really surprised because it's a big, huge moneymaker for Knott's Berry Farm. And so the fact that they, are canceling, I'm thinking, wow. But here's one thing I've noticed, and I don't know if it's a trend that's going on, but I went Saturday night with my daughter. And of course, when it opens up, it is packed, right? But usually come, like 10 o'clock at night, you're able to get onto a lot of the mazes very fast and very quickly. Like we were waiting, I think we never waited more than 15 minutes for a maze. Most of them were like 5 minutes long just to get in after 10 p.m., which is awesome. So we got on we went through quite a few mazes that night. But has that been your experience as well, Cordy?
The late night, well, the late nights are always the best, right?
Right, but it was a Saturday night. I expected them to be. They were open until 2 a.m.
You know who I blame? I blame those streamers who are out there telling all the secrets.
Wow.
They see, just in general, I think a lot of people have caught on to the little tricks of the trade, right? Like, oh, if you go after this time, no one's there. So right. I think it does have a lot to do with social media and them, people being able to see like what's going on at what time and kind of learning those tricks. But I thought, of course, I didn't go to the new mazes when I was there that last hour. So I don't know how long the waits were at that time of night. I felt like overall it seemed a lot quieter than I thought it would be. Like Cinema Slashers was like no one, right? We just walked right in and no one was in front of us, and so it was a little different.
One of the things I noticed last year is during the grand opening, there were tons of people there, content creators and all that stuff, and by 9:30 p.m. it seemed like a lot of people had gone home or checked out. Maybe they need to go home and do their TikTok, or whatnot. Poster stuff. But it was amazing that everything was just easy to get on. In fact, I went through all the mazes twice last year. This year, I didn't do that. But there is still one more show I didn't get to see. That's Conjurers, which is a magic show. So I definitely want to see that. I did get to see the Carnival du Grotesque show, which was great, and I saw that with my daughter on Saturday too. This year it's a new show, which I'm really happy about. They changed it from the last 2 years, and there's 3 new acts. So the guy who usually gets up on that big wheel, he's not there anymore. It's changed, and there is a there is a fire act, a balancing act, and a rope act, which is really cool. So I thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, I think the show is better this year, and they have a little bit of a story to tell in this one as well. But I think it's a better story than the last 2 years that they had the show.
I just love the dancers. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, and they're great, and they do all new dancers this year. So Hope, awesome. She keeps saying, "Cordy, woo,
woohoo!"
There we go.
Adventures Road Finish asked about Wednesdays in October. No Wednesdays, period. And there wasn't even Sunday. This first Sunday, opening weekend, they didn't have Scary Farms.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, what? They're not doing it this first weekend? How do you not? I don't know what's going on with Knott's and why they decided to change that, but I was shocked because even Ariel had mentioned something to me, and I'm like, no, they have it tonight, don't they? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, you're right. It's not happening tonight. So I'm disappointed that it's happening. I'm wondering if it's not as popular as in past years, and maybe that's why they're not doing Wednesday nights, and maybe that's why they can that first Sunday night. But yeah, it's really disappointing, especially if you buy a season pass. If you bought the season pass and you were promised, hey, Wednesdays, throughout the whole entire thing, well, they just gave you one less day. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, because a lot of people bought it with their renewal last year. Wednesdays were, I will say, going on Wednesdays, you were like, maybe for a couple hours it was busy. Mm-hmm. But it was the night to go. If you're like, I'm going to go Wednesday and just like, right, I have the whole park to myself, basically.
Yeah.
So I kind of, where you're like, I get it, but not that I like it.
Right. There we go. So let's see. There was not a whole lot else to report. I think if you go to the Disney blog site, they actually announced that they are going to have they announced who the guest speakers are going to be for the Candlelight Processional, which is kind of cool. So, at Walt Disney World, yeah. But there's nothing really on the front. I did find out, by the way, and I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but originally they said that Big Thunder Mountain is going to open on the 25th of October. Apparently that is not the case, and it's now been put back on the to be determined list. So that's kind of a bummer. Yeah, and the funny thing is they're not adding any new construction whatsoever to it, so I'm not sure why, maybe it was a mistake and they didn't mean to put it out with that date for October 25th, but yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer. But Cars is opening back up, I think, the 26th, this Friday, so that'll be great. I'm looking forward to that reopening.
Very good. Good night, Kelly DiMaggio. Thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Good night, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Oh, GV559 says maybe they should have announced that before people bought their season passes, and that's why a lot of people were upset.
I don't think they knew they were going to do it. I feel like this was something fairly recent they decided, but yeah.
They did. And just so you know, they're really hurting as a company right now. It's crazy. They are not doing very well. They incorporated so much debt from the mergers that they had with Cedar Fairs and Six Flags that they're actually hurting right now. And so that's why they were having this amazing deal recently. It's off now, unfortunately, but you could have gotten your Gold Pass or Prestige Pass with all the theme parks added on at no extra charge. So that's 4 theme parks throughout the United States, 40 theme parks throughout the United States, not 4. So it was a really, really good deal. And even like the food add-on, I don't know if you did it, Cordy, but for the Prestige Pass, it was only another $10 to add it for all the parks. I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? That's amazing. Now you can go to all the other ones. So
I didn't upgrade my pass, but
you did?
I did not. I should have.
Oh, you didn't. Yeah, we did. We went to the Prestige for our family this year, and Danny did it as well. So, but yeah, it was a really good deal, I thought. But even so, they always have an amazing deal when it comes to Knott's Berry Farm. It's so much cheaper than buying a pass for Disneyland.
Oh, yes.
Which is crazy because I think that's why Disneyland's been so busy and crazy lately, last couple of weeks, is because they've allowed people to buy the bottom tier passes and they can go back in the park now. So it has been kind of busy, but I will tell you last night was a great experience. It really, while there were a lot of people there because of Oogie Boogie, it really wasn't so bad that you couldn't enjoy the rides and attractions and things like that. But you know what I got to do last night? For the very first time ever.
I saw, but I'll let you say it.
I got to sit in the tender car, in the tender seat, which is right behind the locomotive where the fireman and the engineer actually sit. And so I got to sit behind the locomotive, ask them questions. It was Tom and Reese, and they were just super nice cast members. And it was so cool because They shared so much information with us, and I got to be on the train as you were going around Rivers of America at sunset. So if you didn't see it, go back, check it out. It was a really, great way to open up the stream. And the thing is, I've waited a few times to sit in this tender car, and I've never been able to sit in that seat. I've always been told, sorry, they're not doing it after waiting for an hour or a half hour. And this time I waited for 3 trains and I got it. And they did say, Corey, and you might want to try this too, that the EP Ripley is the best one. It's the biggest train. That's the one that you always ride at the end of the night, for the sweeper train. But they also said that that's the one that goes around the park, and it's always great to watch the fireworks from. And they usually do allow people to sit in the tender seat, but it's a hit or miss, obviously. Sometimes they do and sometimes not. So,
Okay.
Thank you, EXP66. I appreciate that. And Kira Mermaid said, that was fun to watch. And Tammy said, that was really cool on the train. And Hope, woohoo! There you go. Oh, in Hope, she's asking if you can say the scientific name for the Adventureland treehouse.
I can't even remember kids, dreamers, and jammers. So I always forget. What is it? Semperflorens.
Disneodendron Semperflorens grandis.
See? Woohoo!
There we go. All right. Very cool.
You got it.
The Ripley was Walt's favorite logo. And by the way, we asked the employees or cast members what, because I think Paul was asking about it, is there any difference between the EP Ripley and the, what was the other one? I'm on a mind blank now. Come on, throw it in the chat there, Paul. Which one was it? Oh, CK Holiday. That's what it was. CK Holiday, they said it was a bigger train, and it also was a little bit smoother on the tracks. So they did prefer that train. Yeah. So, but thank you everyone for watching. It was a lot of fun. I don't have anything else on the agenda. So if you guys have some questions for me or Cordy, throw them in the chat and we will answer them for you before we end our show tonight. Any questions, comments, sarcastic remarks? Throw them in chat. Yeah, thanks again, Paul. I appreciate that. I was on a mind blank tonight on a couple things.
It's already been a week and it's only Monday.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's been a crazy busy Monday. Next streams. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, James. Oh, posted one above. Okay, Krista Joe. Let's go back up here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Bob, I keep hearing this rumor that Universal is going to offer a 3-year pass to Universal Orlando. Would you get one to go back to Epic Universe and go on the other Universal parks? So I've heard the rumor too, but I haven't heard anything that solidifies that they're actually going to do that. If it was worth it, I might do it. The thing is that, we're in California, so flying to Florida is not really cheap. The last time I flew, it was over $500 just for a round trip ticket. So it's not that that's super expensive. It's just that, to go back and forth several times. However, I did find, if you guys heard of Breeze Airlines, have you heard of that?
Yes.
Yes. So Breeze Airlines has, what's that?
No, it made me think of the soundbite.
Oh,
a Jet2 holiday.
Jet2 holiday. Yes. I know. That's so funny. Well, anyhow, so George Ray, he actually flies up to San Francisco from the San Bernardino Airport to go visit his son, and he was telling me that tickets are as cheap as $100, or no, for like $44, up to about $200 for first class, which is amazing, right? So I planned out a trip to go to Florida to see if I could do it, and it was $171, but it would take 16 hours and 4 stops. Like, no, I'm not doing that. So I would say if it was worth it, I mean, 3 years is a long time, right? So you could probably make it worth your money to do it. Yeah, I would probably do it. I will tell you that I don't need a ticket to Epic Universe because I already have a free ticket to go back, because when we went to guest services last time and wasted 2 hours in line to talk to them, they gave us passes to come back to Epic Universe. So me, my family, and Tom F who went with us all have a ticket to go back. Although it's funny because Tom actually has a season pass, so
That's funny.
he can pretty much go back anytime he wants. Yeah, but I would definitely do that. Would you, Cordy?
Just because I don't see myself going to Florida, so it would just waste. It would be a waste for me personally.
Gotcha. All right.
GV, we could walk. No, I'm kidding. Not in 16 hours. 16 days. Could you walk
16
in
hours.
16 days? No. Longer.
No.
Don't listen.
And good night, Tammy. Thank you again for the gifted memberships. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, that's a lot of time sitting somewhere.
Roto Commish wants to know if I'm going to HHN this year. I would like to go this year. Unfortunately, I didn't go the last 2 years, even though I planned on going last year. It just didn't work out for me, unfortunately, with my schedule. So I'm crossing my fingers I can try and do one this year. Are you going, Cordy?
Yeah, I went opening night, and I'll be going Sunday.
Did you buy a season pass? Oh, you did. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Very cool. How much are the season passes, by the way, for HHN?
I think it was $250.
Oh, okay.
I knew I was going 3 times. You know, I knew I had 3 visits for sure that I was going to do. So
yeah, if you know if you can do it, like for Knott's Berry Farm, season pass holder is only $155, and if you're not a season pass holder, it's $159. So, yeah,
that's the best value.
It is.
Knott's is such a great value.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're close. I mean, you're really close.
Okay, Krista Joe. Yeah, Krista Joe says, "Have you tried any more of the seasonal park treats and foods?"
I have
and then
not.
she added on, seems like the Dole Whip has won a lot of the nights for treats. It has. In fact, last night I treated Brian Sevilla for his birthday and he wanted a Dole Whip, so we went there. And the thing that's been a hit for me, and it's so crazy because I am not a big peach fan, not at all. I don't like peach cobbler. I don't typically, I mean, I'll eat some peaches, you know, but I'm not a peach fan. So then when they came out with a peach Dole Whip, I was like, my dad really wanted to try it. You know, I tried it and it turned out to be an amazing Dole Whip, and I really like it. And if you mix it with the pineapple,
yes,
I mean it's amazing. But yeah, I haven't tried any other seasonal foods. I need to, and I want to as well. But since we had the Park Streamers Hangout, I have not really tried to get any of the other seasonal foods at the moment.
Yeah, I know I haven't either. I mean, I got to try a lot with the first day with George and Lynn in SoCal Sports, so we got a lot of that time. And then when we did our Park Streamers Hangout, so I don't know if I have a lot more. You know, like there aren't that many left. I don't think that I need to try, but
Yep, I hear you. And Eric, have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, Eric.
Yeah, I need to try a few more foods, but you kind of almost hit all of them. And those cards really helped us, by the way, that George and Lynn created. So
I cannot wait for the holiday season, for the Christmas holiday. It's going to be a whole book of cards.
Yes. All right. I don't see any other questions. So why don't we go ahead and call it a night? And Cordy, can you tell us where we can find you and when you're going to be streaming next?
Of course. So you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, my Discord, Twitch, and I believe, I don't know, I'm going to try and get to Disneyland during the week, but right now I know Saturday is a Scary Farm and Sunday, Dreamer Sunday, but we're going to be at HHN.
On Sunday, you're going to be at HHN? Gotcha. Okay, cool.
With Roto Commish, so we'll have
Nice. So you can find me at BarryPlays28 on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. So find me there, and I will be streaming. Now, I do have a reservation for Disneyland on Wednesday, but it's kind of tentative. So if I don't think I can make it, I'm going to cancel the reservation tomorrow. I am going on Thursday to Knott's Scary Farm, And then if I'm lucky, Roto Commish, I will try to join up with you on Saturday at the park. I won't be streaming it, but I definitely will try to join you there. And then, of course, Sunday, I will be at Disneyland for another stream there. So, yep, got quite a bit of streaming going on. Yay! It's awesome. So
No frog's legs.
Oh, you know what? I think she does want to try them.
Uh-uh.
Why? It tastes like chicken. It does, actually. You should try it. If you have never tried it, just try it once. You're like, no. Oh, Roto Commission says, awesome berry place. Just make sure you stay married, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to make the wife mad, right? All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure hanging out with all of you. Danny, Cordy, and I are thankful for all of you and your memberships that you have with us, for the gifted $100 super chat tonight. Al Slim, thank you so much. That was amazing. Can't say thank you enough. That was just really, really cool. We should put that up there one more time. There we go. And also, we can't wait to hang out with you again. We will plan another in-park stream with all of you soon. But until then, we hope that you guys have a great night, and we'll see you on the next Park Streamers Hangout and on our own channels. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.